Well, welcome back to the Courageous Girls podcast. I'm your host, Tara Matson. And again, this time I have a wonderful friend and also a Courageous Girls leader, Courageous Girls mama. Sara is with me today, and she's going to be giving a little bit more of her own insights on what this experience has been like for her as a girl mom, as well as a Courageous Girls leader. Welcome, Sara.
Thanks, Tara. Glad to be here.
So Sara, start by just telling us a little bit about you, the stage of life you're in, if you work in the home, out the home, and how you got involved in Courageous Girls.
Yes, I love it. Yes, so I am a mom to 3 girls who range in age from 6th grade down to 1st grade. And I love getting to be their mom and seeing the world through their eyes and getting to partner with them in their growing up. I do work outside the home. I'm trained as a nurse, and I manage operations for a medical group. And so that keeps me very busy in addition to my kiddos. But I'm married to Travis, and we've lived all over and had our own story, lived all over the United States, been lots of places. And I am so grateful to have his partnership in raising our girls together. I actually came to know Courageous Girls, Tara, through a mutual connection that you and I have. I was moving to Oregon and didn't know very many people in Oregon. And one person that I did know said, "Hey, you got to know this person named Tara Matson, and you have to know this thing called Courageous Girls." And so that was my introduction to Courageous Girls. So I did a really bold thing. I moved into a community and started 2 Courageous Girls groups for my 2 older girls who are each a year apart, or they're a year apart. And so what I was aiming to do is, as we kind of got established in this community, to be intentional about helping my girls connect with other girls, and for us to connect with other families in raising girls together as we were in a new place. I really felt called to do a separate group for each of my girls, even though they're only a year apart. And actually, in those 2 groups, we could be one group in the sense of our age ranges. And so that was my commitment, was to do 2 different groups. So I spend a lot of time each month doing Courageous Girls, but feel really called to have that time carved out for each of my unique girls. And now, as I'm thinking and entertaining the idea of what it will mean to bring on a 3rd group for my 1st grader who will be in 2nd grade, thinking about when the right time and who the right group is to start with her.
Thank you, Sara. Okay, you said 2 things that I want to chat about. One is that intentional decision to do 2 different groups. And a lot of mamas, they'll have twins, or their daughters are really close like yours. I guess that's called the Irish twins. I don't know, something like that. And that's a common question, like efficiency. Do I really need to do 2 groups? So talk about why you decided to do 2 separate groups, and what you're seeing as the fruit of that.
Yeah. Well, I think because my older girls are so close, we've done a lot of things for them together, right? I mean, they've been in many of the same developmental stages together. They've shared clothes like all along. Their sizing is the same. And so I felt that it was the Spirit prompting me about who my own kids were and what their unique needs were, that going forward, having a space where even if just for a few hours every month, like it was our thing we did together. And that has really paved the way for other times to be just our time or do our things. Or there's even like conversations that are unique to just us, right? We heard something together at Courageous Girls in its own unique way, just the 2 of us. And so then what does that mean for follow-up conversations? So I think that has been kind of the fruit of that. I don't think it's wrong to do a group for like one group for 2 kids. I don't know that that's a wrong choice. It's just, it just is like, what does life require in that moment and what can you manage? I think a group is better than no group. And in my case, it's been better to have 2 separate groups for these girls. It's also plugged us into community in different ways, right? Because we have, each of our groups has 7 pairs of moms and daughters. So it's been 6 other sets of moms and daughters that we've gotten to forge friendships with and make connections on that kind of monthly basis. And that's been a sweet gift too.
That's so good. There isn't a hard and fast rule on anything in Courageous Girls because it's really about God's grace and how He's calling you. However, the wisdom of having an individual group for each of your daughters, when I think about it if we deconstruct why Courageous Girls was built, as I sit in the counseling room with so many people and their stories, sisters that are close in age, that is a wounding of not feeling seen individually, twins as well. There's a gift for parents to be able to kind of lump everything together and, buy one set of clothes and a pair of shoes they can share, those kinds of things. But having that individual eyeball to eyeball attention and love from a parent, every child desires, especially the bigger the family, but the closer the age, that's a pull. And so it's an intentional decision you made, not right or wrong. I love that you're saying that, but something for moms to really consider. It's a little extra inconvenient, but on the other side, there's some fruit that you are speaking to that is worth the inconvenience sometimes of having the extra day out of the month. And you figured out some creative things. Like I have two daughters, so I did two groups at the same time over a period of 8 to 9 years. And then now I'm just doing one as I'm finishing my youngest. We're in year 9. And there's a lot of overlap. Like I would do a mom retreat with both of my groups so that they would all start to get to know each other. And sometimes there was overlap with the sisters in the group. Sometimes there wasn't. What's been some of the creative things you've done as you think about running two groups, considering a third one coming?
Yeah. Well, this isn't creative. This is just like kind of brass tacks on how we do it. But it's like, first of all, we meet on Friday nights, which is kind of for some, it might not work, but it works really well for our groups. Everyone is usually pretty tired by Friday, right? Like it's a tired time, but it's kind of made Courageous Girls this soft landing, right?
Mhm.
Everyone kind of comes in. I have one mama who always jokes like I'm showing up in my soft clothes, like she's moving towards her weekend, her chill time, and that's been kind of sweet to have that time. As an aside, like that's created this great time for my husband with our other two kids who's ever not at their Courageous Girls meeting. They kind of have this fun Friday night routine then that they've been able to develop. And one, I'm not answering your question, Tara, but I'm getting there. One other thing I wanted to say about like connecting with your daughter. We live in a neighborhood where there's several families in our group live near us, and I've been pretty intense. Oftentimes they're like, "Hey, do y'all want to carpool to Courageous Girls together?" And I've been really intentional about not carpooling.
Mm.
I always love to carpool. Like that's one of my like I love that kind of extra little time. But I've thought, no, for my girls, like I mean, 10 minutes alone in the car, even if it's just 10 minutes alone with one child in the car, how rare is that? Like, I feel like I'm always carting multiple kids. And so I've even clung to that time as this sweet, sweet thing. When I think about running two groups and like, what do we do with it? What are some creative things? I think, this past year, we were trying to think through our retreats specifically and how do we do retreats. We do our retreats in January, actually. That's the month that we do retreats. And so this year, just based on how things were looking, there's one other mom who is in both groups. And I called her up and I said, I've got a really crazy idea. Think about it. I said, could you do both retreats in one weekend? Like we do Friday night, like Friday to Saturday with one group and then Saturday to Sunday with the other group. Could you do that? And what would you need to make that happen? Like for self-care, like holding yourself firm to do that. She and I had a great discussion and we both were like, yeah, let's try it. And we had this really like lovely time, ending up kind of like as a leader. I was leading the retreats. It kind of allowed me to like get into the groove of things and show up in a hospitable way for the group, right? To host them in this space that we were gathered in. And we did two retreats back to back, and it was great. So that was one of the creative ways. Instead of like giving 2 weekends up in 1 month, we just did two 24-hour retreats in the same weekend.
That's so good. I love that innovation. And that's so what I just trust that God does with different people in their different stages of life. their different communities, that what's accessible for them. I do a curriculum for 2-night retreats. That's my dream for everyone, but I know a lot of people will slice it and just do one of the lessons and do an afternoon at a park.
Yeah.
So it's just learning to discern what you guys can do and what you can't do. And so having 3, that is a common issue for moms that have more than 2 daughters. 2 daughters feels okay, I can do this. 3, 4, 5 daughters. I have one mama that I know who is on 4 groups.
It's amazing.
She's not leading all of those. She co-leads 2 of them, and then she gets to participate in 2, but is a very seasoned leader, so she gets to be part of the wisdom on that. It's a lot, and I would just say, actually, I would love you to say, like, what would be your encouragement for a mama who's just like, I can't even start with one, because if I start with one, then I got to do all of them, and I can't imagine giving my time in that way.
Yeah. Oh, I would encourage that mama to still step out in faith, because there is so much goodness in connecting with our girls through Courageous Girls, and I've been changed by it. I'm a courageous girl, and it's been so fun to be on that journey, even as the mama age. Um, and I do think setting up, like, what needs to be true. I mean, I think about this all the time. Like, for this to be successful, what needs to be true for me, right? And kind of thinking through. And to be honest, I was really clear with my group. I had a conversation with both groups. My job was changing and was going to require some different things of me, a good deal of travel, and I was quite worried about being the leader. But no one in the group was ready to step up and be the leader at that time. It just wasn't working out. So I just said to all of them, like, "Hey, I can still like be the leader in the sense of like." Or, do some of this organization. I'll still do the retreats. But for the month that you're on, like, can we agree on what the expectation should be around when we send the email out to one another, reminding one another about the meeting? And can we agree on kind of like what leading that month will look like? And then we just all need to do that. And they were so gracious and have just done that wonderfully. And so um, I think there's ways to bring your group along with you in co-leadership. There's always a little bit of that leadership that you'll maintain as that group leader. But, I was really able to ask my group for what I needed, for it to be true for me to continue to lead. And they were gracious enough, to meet me in that. And we've
Mm.
had a really great year.
You are a courageous girl, because a courageous girl can ask for help. And you
That's
totally
right.
were honest and just like, hey, this is something that things are changing. And that is part of every season of our lives as women. And we need to be attuned to that. We need to ask for what we need. So I love that you're modeling to them, and then them being able to say, yeah, we've got your back. When we speak up and we say, hey, I need this, most of the time in safe and trusted relationships, we're like, yeah, we can do that. And if we can't, we're honest about it.
Yeah.
And so I love that piece. The other part that you're
Can
speaking
I
to
say
that I want
one
to,
thing, Tara, about that also?
yes, yes.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I also think, like, and those moms did so as an act of kindness to me, but also as an act of faith, because I would say a lot of our moms, several of our moms have said to me, like, I don't feel like a leader, or I don't, I'm not sure I'm a great teacher.
Yeah.
But we've talked a lot about, like, hey, you don't have to be a great teacher. You don't have to be a Bible study, you know, certified, ready to go, kind of leader.
Seminary
Like,
trained.
you just can show up, right? You trust the spirit, do your homework, right? Like, you have to do the homework, but show up. And so I think that's been a great thing to watch some women who've said, ooh, this is kind of out of my comfort zone. They too have stepped kind of into that out of kindness to me. But it's been sweet to see that the Lord
Mm.
meet them in that.
It is. It's one of my favorite parts, Sarah, of watching God grow and everyone in the group. So moms and daughters, because these girls get to watch mamas up close and see
Yes.
women in real time doing
Yes.
this in all their vulnerability and real. So let's speak about that. You said I'm a courageous girl. What kind of things has God been doing in you these last years that you've been leading courageous girls?
I can think of two specific things. One of them is I don't have a sister. I have sisters by choice, not no sisters by blood. And so I think Courageous Girls has given me a way to think about what it means to be raising sisters too. So I love being a girl. I love being a woman. I believe that God has created us beautifully and gifted women uniquely to do things in the world. And I want to live into my whole being that He's called me into. Um, and so then as I think about like what does it mean to be raising girls, like there's a level which I'm like, well, I'm a girl, so I kind of know what it's like to raise a girl, but I've never raised sisters.
Mm.
And that's a really unique thing. So I think Courageous Girls has helped me think like, yeah, what does it mean to be a girl? But then also what does it mean to be a girl in a family of girls? So that's special and unique to my story. And then I just think that we never outgrow being a courageous girl, right? Like a courageous girl isn't necessarily a destination like that we arrive at, right? It's always a journey. We're on a journey of grace. And so, I may be a mom who's been through a lot of life things. But guess what? Every single lesson always still speaks to me.
Mm.
Um, and I love actually getting to revisit a lot of those things in our monthly sessions and thinking through those things and thinking through what did this topic mean when I was that age? What did that topic mean when I was in my early 20s? What did that topic mean when I was newly married? Like it actually allows me to kind of go back and see all those versions of my growing up versions of myself and think about like, oh, where's the through line here? Where's the thread? What has God been doing with this story all
Mm.
along? And then how is God speaking to me still about this now? And I love that it's both as easy as being a courageous girl and as hard as being a courageous girl.
Yeah, that's well said. I think I would love us to maybe even to define, because there might be somebody just brand new to the podcast or brand new to Courageous Girls, but between the two of us, I'll help you out. But would you say a courageous girl is in terms of your understanding and in the curriculum? And I know you've read the book and have been immersed in helping us even shape and vision and dream for courageous girls. What would you say if someone's like, "What's courageous girls?"
I would say that a courageous girl is someone whose identity is rooted in Christ. And because of that identity being rooted in Christ, knows that she can be in the world with both her God given beauty and God given grace um, to love and to serve and to lead and to be a friend. All of these things. Like there's no part of us that is not affected by being that courageous girl. And so Courageous Girls as a movement allows us to really enter in and explore what that means in all places of our lives, right? Like in all different stages. And we do this very specifically between moms and daughters because there's something really special there. There's
Mm.
something really special there. And the reality is that our girls, as moms, our girls will always spur us on into different places and to different things. And so getting to partnership in that means that we get to really help lay that foundation and build that strength of relationship.
Mm. Yeah, beautifully said, Sarah. I
Oh,
love
God,
it.
I do.
You did amazing. And I'm like, the only part that I would be like, I want to stretch out a little
Yes.
is, and this isn't maybe to answer what a courageous girl is, but it is the model that's a little unique, is that it's for us moms and daughters. And
Yep.
it's interesting. I'll talk with people about courageous girls and they're like, that's okay. My daughter's already doing this, or, oh, I should let our Sunday school teacher know about this. And I go, no, 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 this is you and your daughter. And so you're speaking to the holistic approach. And maybe it was, I don't think it was manipulative. I think it was strategic and wisdom. But I was like, how do we get mamas to do their work? Because we are modeling the way. And so much of a mom will bring a daughter in and go, she's struggling with this. And then we sit with mom and we go, okay, let's talk about your story or your journey, right? And it's often a place that's a wounding for us. Maybe we hit the middle school years, and maybe that's when our family got divorced, or we had a lot of bullying, or we just had a lot of mean girlfriends. And so we're starting to, our own anxieties are kicking in. And so, we want somebody else to help us with our daughter so she doesn't have the same pain and story. And honestly, our daughters motivate us to enter in. And so this journey of listening and reading God's word and seeing how it really applies to our real lives here and now, and then modeling the way, not in perfection, but in our humanity with our girls, to go, this is how you walk with God as a human being and as a female. So being courageous is, often people think, we're all about being brave, and it's actually about showing up and trusting your God is a really big God, and he's got you and your back. I just watched the lineage of David, or the kingdom of David. It's kind of like The Chosen. Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's so good. But you see the David and Goliath
Yeah.
moments in visual, right? That's what's fun about the
Yes.
digital age. And the moment when, David comes out, he's just this little brother. He's coming to feed the army. He's not really supposed to be there. And he hears the giant mocking his God and his people. And he's confident that he can take on this giant, not because of him, but he's like, because of God. And you see this whole thing play out. And I think that's ultimately, there's lots of examples in the Bible of what it means to be courageous. But David was just this little 14-year-old, boy, shepherd boy. And so many women and girls, we have so many reasons why God wouldn't use us, or we're not valuable, or getting stuck in really unhealthy places. And so we're just trying to untangle that in communities together. Life is hard, and so we need each other. So talk a little bit about the unique challenges. Let's just be a little real about courageous girls groups. We're not throwing our groups and our moms and our daughters under the bus, because we love them all, but the reality of bringing women together
Yeah.
can get a little challenging. So let's just talk about the ways that he grows us through those challenges. Can you name a couple of those, Sarah? If not, I'll throw a few at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yes. I've grown a lot because working with, 6 different moms times 2 groups, right? You're
Yeah.
working with different family systems. Like you said, we are all coming from different stories. We all have our own wounding, and we're like what you said, Courageous Girls kind of brings us back, by doing this curriculum when we're in the 4th grade, the 5th grade, the 6th grade, the 7th grade, right? It does bring us back as moms to that time, the things we were thinking about, and it grounds us in that way, which is great, in partnership with our daughters. But you're right, it also brings things up for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to some degree, I think, there's different levels. We're all on different levels of health with our journeys, right? Some of us have done work, some of us haven't done as much work, some of us have done work in certain areas and not others. And guess what? That in community, over time, all of that comes out. And so the reality is that we've had to work through that, as groups in different ways. And it means that sometimes we've had really hard conversations among the moms. I don't think our girls know that, but we've had hard conversations, as moms, whether that's like maybe a mom to me, or it's even within the larger group of moms. And I think that one of the most beautiful things about our groups, my groups, are that the moms keep showing up, right? Like showing up as we are in that grace space. Like grace is so foundational to what we're doing. We've been able to say to one another, like, this isn't sitting right with me, or, oh, this topic, I'm uncomfortable with how the lesson's written. What do we do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those kinds of things. It has prompted real and hard and beautiful conversation. And what I have loved about our groups is that, I love that idea of having the most generous interpretation for one another always, and we have tried to lead with that as a group. It's like, okay, we're going to assume the best intention here. So then can we have a conversation? No one's kind of coming like it's going to be a fight. It's like we show up saying, I want to understand, or help me understand, or how can
Yeah.
how can we how can we better understand one another? And so that's meant that sometimes at the end of group, we like dismiss the girls and I don't know, everyone goes out and jumps on the trampoline for 15 or 20 minutes and the moms are like, "Okay, how are we going to think about this as a group? Like what do we want to talk about?"
Mm.
When it's been we know that maybe there's something hard in the curriculum coming up. We've all had to get on a Google Meet before at like 8 PM at night and try like sort through some things. And this hasn't been like super common, right?
Right.
It's yeah,
But it's a part of
but
it. Mhm.
it's a part of it. Yeah.
I just love that you guys are being intentional that way. That's part of the courageous journey is practicing. What does this look like to be in real relationship with real people who have, we're all children, in different spaces of our journey with God. I've had people in my group who maybe said they were Christians, but didn't really know at the end of the day, the gospel, all the way to people who, were leaders in the church and all of us together trying to come together. Um, and the vulnerability and the honesty. Mean girl stuff can happen even in the group. And so the guiding as moms, that's not getting defensive, but leading our girls, they might be all besties in second, third grade. And then you hit the middle school years and the insecurities kicking in and the awkward things that girls do. And so we're working on guiding them together. And so I just love that you guys are being that intentional and taking that time. And that is really the ideal is when you start when they're younger so that when you do hit a lot of those bumps along the road, it's a little easier. It's harder to start CG when you're in seventh, eighth, ninth grade, but a lot of moms do. And I would say it's never too late. So I don't want to discourage anybody. But if your kids are littler, this is the time to do it. Don't wait because the benefits come with this community of women. We grow and then we model the way for our girls when they're struggling with friendship and we say, okay, here's what we do. We go and we talk. We say, hey, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. I think there's a misunderstanding. Can we talk? And oftentimes, I know in my group, Sarah, us moms would do it all together. So it'd be like me and another mom and two daughters, and we would all four of us try to work through something. And I remember having to work really hard to not get defensive, right? Like that's just what we have to do as moms to be like, this my child's in the right? But no, just recognizing we have a heart for all these girls together. We're all learning. So that's just kind of the fruit that comes from journeying together in intentional community and these lessons that keep reminding us what the word teaches us and even what healthy relationship tools teach us
Yes.
about how to have good communication, how our personalities bump up against each other, how we all have different stories. We've got triggers and we need to be gracious and recognize. And then how to confront when we are kind of hurting each other and how to deal with that with grace, as Galatians reminds us, in gentleness. So,
Yes.
Sarah, when you think about you're a busy mama, I mean, everyone's busy, but you're really busy in a good way, not in a like you're too busy. It's just you've got full things in your life. Talk about why Courageous Girls, of all the things that you could be doing with your time, what's unique about it for you? And what would you say to a mom who's like, I got a lot going on. I don't need another thing.
I mean, my favorite thing about Courageous Girls is that I'm doing it with my daughter.
Mhm.
That truly is the best. And so we get to be on this journey together. And when I think about like what I hope for in my relationship with my girls, you know, I don't I, you know, without giving too much away about who my girls are, but like I don't have girls that just chat all day to me. Like they're not those kinds of girls. They're not going to share things with me. I have um a little girl in my life who's kind of like my niece. She's not, but she's kind of like it and I love her. When she comes over, she chats and tells me all the things. I get all the information. I love it. Those aren't my kids. And so there's a level at which to have these like points in time where I know we're going to have intentional conversation has just been like this great gift to open up reflection with them that is not going to happen based on just personalities, but also is is unlikely to happen just in the pace of life, right? And so that is one of the things that I just love about Courageous Girls, as opposed to one of many other things I could be doing with my time, is it's just like an opportunity to put elbows out and like make the space.
Mm.
And that intentionality is intentional. Like, it takes intention. You have to make it happen. Um, and that has been the gift for me of Courageous
Mm.
Girls, is this like rhythm of making it happen. And I think, you know, even the homework sometimes that comes out of our Courageous Girls times, like, hey, think about these conversations, or like, how do you want to revisit that? It's been a great thread for me. Like I've said, like, that thread through is we can kind of continue to have those conversations, or even the fact that the curriculum, I think of the curriculum as like spinning around and building up at the same
Mm.
time. So, like, you're coming back to certain themes, but you're looking at them the next year in a deeper way, or through a little different lens. And so there's this culmination, we're building over time. And I love that, because that means our conversations are building too.
Mm.
And so to have that protected space with my girl, to have that through line, you know, that is following, and really giving me, honestly, a little bit of a course to
Mhm.
follow in the ways in which I'm dealing and interacting with my daughter, and the ways in which we're talking about things, the fact that we have some common vocabulary, right? All of this is just enriching what it means, to be a mom to my girls. And so that's why I do Courageous Girls. And I also do Courageous Girls because, let's be honest, once a month, that's pretty sustainable.
Thank you very much for saying that. Because I think a lot of mamas are like thinking I'm asking them to meet weekly. And I'm like, oh no. Oh
No,
no.
no. Once a month is so great because, and again, like, this is year 3 and year 4, like, we we've got the momentum, like, enough water's gone under the bridge at this point. Like, we have deep relationships. It came at first, it felt like, "Oh my gosh, a month in between, like, yeah, we're busy, but how are we ever gonna build relationship just once a month?" Bam, it's happened. It's happened, and
Yeah.
it happened pretty quickly,
I
actually.
love it. Bam, it happened. And I mean, again, it's so much, so much of the curriculum and the thinking of the vehicle of Courageous Girls was written with this idea of the long term, right? We're not winging it here. And so it takes a baseline of 2 years to build any sort of depth and trust in any relationship. I think that's important for moms to recognize. Is so often we're like, you're going to be my bestie, but I don't even know you yet. You have to hit some conflict. And some of us women will never let that happen, right? We're out before we hit conflict because our lives are so, transactional, and, we're moving all the time into new sports teams. We move churches, we move houses, we move all kinds of things, schools, classrooms. Um, so having consistency over time is really a key factor so that you can experience what that's like on the other side of going, oh, that's really who you are.
Yeah,
And I love you even more, right? Like, that's the gift of
yeah,
being real and vulnerable that we all kind of fear at some level as women, of like, if you really knew me.
yeah.
And the other factor is just time. Like,
Mhm.
you have to have time, and to be able to make a difference in our daughters' lives. I loved how you said elbows out, like making the space. It doesn't just happen, especially more than ever before in our busy, distracted, digitally disconnected world. And we try so hard, just trying to get dinner together on the table these days. So having this kind of intentionality with each of your girls, is on purpose. And then I love it. Bam, it happens. 3 to 4 years. Now you don't want to miss your CG group. Like, it's so
Yeah,
fun. I've been doing this. My oldest, 12 years ago, we started. Those women are so dear, and I don't see many of them anymore, which is kind of sad. So I just want to be honest about that, is that I could see them, but I'm really invested in my younger daughter's group right now. And that part of the conversations we had over the years with friendships is there's seasons. Friendships
yes,
are
yeah,
they're not a covenant, they're seasons. And what a gift to have that. And my daughter, as I'm launching her, Sarah, we looking back, I'm asking her all these big questions, what was your favorite part of our house? What are you going to regret? What didn't we do? I'm like, give me all the feedback. It always comes back to Courageous Girls. just all the women, the relationships, the practice in all the dynamics, the confidence of her relationship with me, her going off to college. I'm like, we have a rhythm. We talk regularly. She knows she can be honest. She can ask hard questions because we practiced all these years, month in,
Yeah.
month out. So just this idea, yes, I wanted to quit along the way, Sarah. So to validate
Oh,
that,
good. I'm not the only one.
yeah. Because there's just times where you're like, this is hard. I just want to do it on my own. But that is the pull of the enemy for me and for most women of like, I'm just going to do my own thing and to stay in it and to keep showing up. Like you said, your women keep doing. We keep showing up and watch and see what God does. Watch and see what God does. It's so fun.
It's so
Sarah,
fun.
you've been one of my biggest encouragers when I'm like so discouraged. I'm like, is this even like worth continuing to help? And you're a systemic thinker. So I'd love to end kind of probably where we should have started. But when you think more globally about the church at large, about what women are facing today and what girls are facing today, what would you name as kind of at the core of that? And how you see Courageous Girls really helping. What I don't want people to think is this is the next answer, or if you do this, then you won't have any hard issues or you'll have a perfect daughter. Like that would make me very scared if that was the image we were giving. Um, but end with some good wisdom there because you're a very good thinker this way.
Well, I think, there's a lot to say about our moment. I think every moment in time thinks there's a lot to say about their moment,
Fair.
but, there's a lot changing, right? Church is changing, institutions are changing, um, the digital, um, the digital world has changed us, and we're only kind of understanding, right, the ways in which it's changed us, and it will only continue to. And so, more so than ever, I think, like, what is good about Courageous Girls, is its deep, profound simplicity,
Hmm.
right? Like, it majors in the majors. Doesn't major in the minors, it majors in the majors, which is about, those truths we know about who God is, who He's created us to be, what it means to look in His Word, what it means to practice community, and those things are only gonna become more important. And I think we see that in our girls, in the anxiety, rates that we see, in younger and younger ages. What is the antidote to that? The antidote to that is relationship. And we have the best example of that in Jesus Christ,
Mm.
and I think His ministry on earth, in many ways, Courageous Girls is like His ministry on earth, right? Where it
Mm.
was like, who's around you? Those are your people. Like, you don't get to go out and curate the perfect group of friends. It's kind of the people you're around. You. I love this song by Porter's Gate. I want to be where my feet are, right? Like, I want to be where my feet are. And my feet are right here in this place. It's in this home and it's in this town. It's in this family. It's with these daughters and it's with this community. And so I think what does Courageous Girls mean is that if we can all kind of have that view and say Courageous Girls is a way in which we get to like walk that out together and practice that, and it gives us some of a framework. Like, you've done a lot of the heavy lifting for us, Tara. Like, you've given us the curriculum, you've given us the guide map,
Mm.
right? Yeah, it feels hard to run these groups, but really you've done a lot of the work for us, right? And we can show up and see where the conversation
Mm.
leads and see where the the relationships go. And then at the end of the day, I really believe that we are participating in raising a generation that's better equipped. And it's not like, yeah, checkbox, you have all the answers, but better equipped for all the unknown that life has. Like,
Mm.
it's about building that resiliency and that strength over giving the answers. And I think that's what Courageous Girls does. I think I think this is the metaphor. Courageous Girls sets a beautiful table. Like, it sets a beautiful place at the table, right? We still get to, we're a part of like what's going to be served and how it's going to look, but like Courageous Girls sets the table for us. And out of that comes
Mm.
incredible beauty, great
Mm.
conversations, depth of relationship, health for mamas, right? We get to look at some of our stuff as we're going through this and figure out how, do we want to get help? Are there things we need help with, so we can lead our girls better? Um, these are the things that I love about Courageous Girls. I get to practice moving in faith and moving in courage, in the world. And I think of the word empowerment, and I think there's different ways we define empowerment, and it's been used in different ways. Um, but Christ was empowered by God as Son of God to be in the world and to do some really amazing things and to offer us that grace. And I think, like, that's what I want my girls to know. I want them to know that they can look to Jesus. They can look to his example of grace and his example of faith and his example of love. And that equips them to be who they are in the world.
Mm.
Um, and so I hope that for Courageous Girls, I hope that there is a generation that our antidote to all of the anxiety and difficulties of any moment is truth, and that this is a way we can build that into our girls. Because being a girl is hard. It's tough. It is
Mhm.
really tough. And so I think, yeah, I love Courageous Girls.
I love it too. And honestly, I'm moved to tears, Sarah, just thinking about my own journey as a courageous girl and realizing how even the process of where we are today and these groups forming all over the country and all over the world now. I just saw
Mhm.
just recently some Germany groups starting, and
So fun.
it's just so fun because that's not who I was writing to. I was really in my own little world of the Pacific Northwest and kind of going, we need to not be afraid. We aren't. We don't have as many Christians up here, and people were leaving and flooding back into more the Bible Belt of the country, and just going, you know what? The God I know equips His people, small people, the Israelites who've been wiped out, and everyone's going after them all over history, and they're still going. And He's called, and we've been grafted into that because of Jesus, and to be bold and courageous because of who He is, and not because of who we are, and all of the ways we get distracted as girls um, from his purposes for our lives. And I could have easily got distracted and made this about me. I probably would have never put it out in the world. I would have kept it just for me and my daughters, because that's even though I look very maybe confident to the world, my journey of I'm not having a voice. And I share a little bit about that in my book, Courageous, but I didn't grow up feeling confident in my wisdom or my voice in the room. I did a lot of observing. I was actually really quiet. I can't imagine that now because I
I
talk too
know.
much.
I kind of want to meet that Tara.
I honestly, I'm like, wow. I'm like, where was the trauma there? Because I didn't talk probably until my freshman year of high school when I made a decision. But it's not till later when I started writing this, and people like you, Sarah, in my life saying that share this, others need it. And to see now what God's doing with it, I hope that's just encouragement to each of you that are listening. Like He's got something for you, and it doesn't have to be a big movement or a big curriculum. I mean, we kind of glorify that stuff in Western culture, but God's a God of moving through small things, taking very ordinary, mundane, really an upside down economy where He go, really, you chose that person? You do that? But He loves it. And I just want that to be a part of our mark in Courageous Girls. These girls grow up to be leaders, and not different kinds of leaders, in all their shapes and forms. And so my daughter at the beginning of the original Courageous Girls groups, and all those girls are out in the world, and they're learning to live in the world and to live with God in them, behind them, before them, learning how to do community, have grace for themselves and others. You on the beginning side, third, fourth year into Courageous Girls. I just can't wait. Maybe in 100 years, we'll see. We'll see what the Lord does in the kind of movement. Because when we have Courageous Girls, we also can see the impact of marriages and families and
Yeah.
brothers and churches and
Yeah.
those in the marginalized being wrapped in and brought to the table. So thank you, Sarah. That was my little just got me all revved up. I'm ready to go.
I love it. I love it. Well, and thanks for your faithfulness and steadfastness Tara,
Mm.
in helping make this happen for us and equipping us as moms to do this well for our girls. It
Yeah.
is. It will pay generational dividends, and I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, that's my prayer. And you know what? That's up to the Lord. So however he wants to use it, we're okay with it. But for those of us who say yes, focusing in on our own girls, that's our obedience and faithfulness he's asked for us. So Sarah, thank you for your time. I know it's such a gift to me. And as we close, is there any last word of encouragement you want to leave with moms today?
Steady on, steady on. It's drip by drip into that bucket. And really already I get to see fruit from that. And I'm so grateful on many levels. So thanks, Tara.
Thank you. Imagine a girl who knows she is loved. Imagine a girl who knows how her gifts and her talents and the way she was made, even her limitations, were going to be used on purpose, are being used on purpose by her God. Imagine a girl who knows how to use her voice, especially for those who are voiceless. Imagine a girl who knows how to ask for help, who's honest with her God and with others, who knows how to lean into friendships, to move through conflict, to communicate well, to even work on how to forgive and learn how to move through rather than around. Imagine a girl who loves the Lord her God with all her heart, with all her mind, with all her body, with all her soul, with her relationships and her actions. This is Courageous Girls. And it's not only just for our daughters, but it's for us mamas as well. If you want to learn more, go to mycourageousgirls.com or go download the Courageous Girls app. This is a free online resource, a curriculum that helps you walk with your daughter at every stage of her growing years so that she and you can learn more about what it means to be a girl who knows she's loved and love others well in a world of confusing messages. Today's the day. Are you in?